First, you want to make sure that there's no small children or pets that are likely to get anywhere near anything dangerous. Now we're going to turn on our scale and measure out our water. According to my recipe, I need about 10 ounces of water. Okay. Now I'd like to mix up the lye and the water in the sink, so that way in case there's any spill, it's easy to clean up. Also, it's not likely to splash. Now we're going to measure out our lye. Tare that to 0, and we need, I'm going to do this in grams, 110 grams of lye. Now, lye is the most dangerous part of this process. You want to be very, very careful with it. Okay. And mix our lye and our water together. Can you see?
Yes.
All right. You always want to keep your head back because fumes are going to rise up out of the lye that are really dangerous and not good to inhale. And you always want to add the lye to the water, never the water to the lye, because you can get a volcano action that way. You want to stir to make sure that everything is dissolved. I have I have tools that I use just for making soap because I don't want to use them for cooking. I don't want to ever cross-contaminate that. Now, when the water is mixed with the lye, it's an exothermic reaction, and it will get hot. It will get up to about 170 to 180 degrees. So you want to mix it up and leave it alone and let it cool down for a while. So we're just going to leave that in the sink by itself. Now let's start with our oils. Different oils have different properties to the soap. Olive oil is very moisturizing, but it makes very small bubbles. Whereas coconut oil makes lots of bubbles, but it can be drying to the skin. We'll start with our olive oil, and because that's our largest amount. Next we're adding palm oil. That makes for a nice hard bar. And we're going to add our coconut oil, which again makes for lots and lots of suds. And finally we're adding the castor oil. Now, castor oil is really, really good and nourishing for your skin, but if you add too much, it can make your soap sticky. So we just add about 5% of our oils as castor oil. And we mix up our oil. This is a stick blender that I use exclusively for making soap, so I don't contaminate any food with it. Now for coloring this soap, I'm using yellow and orange. However, these are a little bit hard to dissolve, so what we're going to do is, so it doesn't make clumps, I'm going to pre-dissolve it in just a little bit of the oil. These are pigments, and I only need a very small amount. I'm using a 1/4 teaspoon, roughly. Add a little bit of oil to it. So I'll get mixed back in with the major batch when we're done. So we can pull it out now. And here's our orange. So now we're all ready to wait until the lye is at the appropriate temperature. And then we mix it all together and we make soap. Look, our lye is down to less than 120, which means it's ready to get mixed in with the fat and turned into soap. Already starting to form a little bit of a crystalline structure there. This will set up pretty quickly. Zap it a few times with the mixer. Yeah, this is already starting to thicken. So let's add our scent, which is called Energy. It's a pink grapefruit scent. You don't want to just run the mixer non-stop because that will wear out the engine pretty quickly. So you hit with it a few times and then you just stir it by hand. And what you want to do is you want to keep stirring until you get a little trail left on the surface, like pudding. Try doing that a little bit more. With this is that the lime mixes with the fats and forms a chemical reaction called saponification, and that's what turns it into soap. And we are careful to have a little bit more fats than we need for the lye, so that way if there's any sort of mistake in the measuring or if the lye is a little bit stronger than we expect, it will still be soap and not lye heavy and it won't damage your skin. And the important thing, make sure it's really well mixed so that all the lye gets exposed to all the oils. And there's no pockets of lye left over where it could burn you. I know our yellow right now looks like our uncolored soap, pretty close to the same shade, but when this is done, after it ages for a week or two, this will lighten up to almost a white, and this will stay a nice bright yellow. And there's my orange. And you can see how this is really getting thick like a pudding. Alright, now, the way we do an in the pot swirl is we pour some basically at the four corners of the compass. So this would be the east-west pour. I'm going to leave a little tiny bit in here for the top of the soap. And this will be the north-south pour. And then we take our mixer and we just do once around. And that gives us a nice swirl once we pour it into our mold. Now, like everything else, I have a specially designated mold that is just for soaping, which I'm preheating in the oven. You'll notice it's like a loaf pan, but it has straight sides. And the important thing about that is that when it comes out, your soap will be nice and straight. I want to make sure there's nothing in here. Yeah. Okay. And we pour it in. And we swirl it back and forth. I don't know how well those colors are coming out, but it's not really something you do to save money by any stretch. Commercial soap is a lot cheaper. But it's soap because its nature is significantly better for your skin. And you can make soaps that are specially designed to be really, really gentle if that's what you need for like people with eczema, or you can make them to be just really pretty if you want decorative. Generally, any soap you make is not going to maintain the smell like a perfume. It's just going to keep the scent for while you're in the bathing, while you're showering, because it makes it nice then. I don't know if you can see the pre-swirls in this or not. This is going to continue to give off heat for the rest of the night. I put in a cardboard box with a lid so nothing gets to it, like the cats, and also to keep some of the heat into it. And it's going to go through what's called the gel process, which it will literally look like a jelly. It will turn see-through and translucent and continue to give off heat. And then it'll cool down into what you would recognize as soap. It'll turn opaque and be nice and thick. And that's homemade soap. It's been a day. The soap is all nice and cooled off. If you want to take a nice good look, you can see these beautiful spirals on the top. They look very good. And it's pulled away pretty well from the silicone mold. Just pop it over and pop it out. It's a little bit on the corner, but that's okay. And let's take a cut down the middle. Now, we'll leave this to dry in the air and it'll harden and shrink a little bit as the water inside evaporates. And there you can see, it's a pretty good looking piece of soap. This mold will make about 8 bars of soap. We're going to let it sit for at least 2 weeks before we use it, and then it'll be all ready.